The gaming community often rallies around the love of a cozy game, from the massively amassed fandom of Stardew Valley to the Doom Animal Crossing hybrid hype during the COVID lockdown. Cozy games bring us together. Tales of the Shire is the most notable cozy game to release in a long time, taking the Lord of the Rings IP, plucking from it the most cozy location ever conceived, the Shire, and making a cute game about it. But now, with the release at hand, the reviews are in, and they're a relatively mixed bag. Sitting at a weak OpenCritic score of 64 with only 30% of critics recommending it, Weta Workshop's biggest release to date seems to have launched in a rough state, so let's break down the reviews of Tales of the Shire. First, let's look at our review done by Cameron Swan. It seems to be more favorable than most, citing the game as a competent cozy hobbit adventure, fulfilling exactly what fans of the IP and of the genre might be looking for. The game boasts a 17-minute day-night cycle, 15 NPCs to interact with, including some iconic Lord of the Rings characters, story missions to embark upon, and social clubs to progress in. The gameplay loop consists of much of what you'd expect: farming, fishing, cooking, and foraging. That seems to mean that Tales of the Shire follows a very similar core loop to a game like Stardew Valley. Cameron goes on to talk about how the game has decent gameplay hooks driven through its clubs and the incentives those clubs offer, saying much like its quest design, Tales of the Shire's core gameplay mechanics are simplistic but solid. Cameron also goes on to praise the NPCs you'll be interacting with while doing chores around the sizable Shire, while wishing they had been voiced, stating, "These interactions are mostly very charming, with some well-written dialogue that routinely cements each NPC's distinct personality, though these interactions aren't without their issues. There's no voice dialogue in Tales of the Shire, and while that's nothing out of the ordinary for the genre, the lack of sound effects during these character interactions can be jarring." The areas of criticism offered by this review, though, are ones that were expected before launch, graphical issues on the Switch being one of them, repetitive and typical gameplay that doesn't distance itself from anything else in the genre being another, and the art direction that may not be as fully baked as some would have liked is the most important. Overall, this review paints a picture of a game for Lord of the Rings fans and for cozy game enthusiasts, but maybe not for everyone else. This landed Cameron's score at a 7 out of 10. Reasonable, but not amazing. But where do other sites stand on the game? A decent portion of reviewers echo a lot of the same criticisms without so much of the praise. The review from DualShocker stated the same complaints about crashes, except this time being on the PlayStation, which is much more troubling, with their review giving it a 5.5 out of 10. IGN, on the other hand, was absolutely brutal, giving the game a 4 out of 10, stating, "Despite an incredibly promising premise, Tales of the Shire is dreadfully boring and extremely buggy to boot." Nintendo Life also gave the game a 4 out of 10, complaining about just how bad the performance was on Switch. But it wasn't all doom and gloom, as CG Magazine gave Tales of the Shire an 8 out of 10, saying that Tales of the Shire brings enough original content to the second breakfast table to satisfy Tolkien fans and devout cozy gamers alike. Also, the Sixth Axis review stated that Tales of the Shire offers a comfortable and lazy fantasy life, but it's one that feels genuine and heartfelt. But there were also a lot of reviewers that just landed right in the middle, with elements that they loved and elements that frustrated them, with the reviewer from Nerdstash giving it a 7.5 out of 10, stating, "Tales of the Shire captures the serenity of living life in a backwater village as a hobbit, warts and all." From all these reviews, including ours, the same thing rears its head over and over again. If you like Lord of the Rings, there's a great experience to be found here, albeit with some technical issues. If you like cozy games, this is more of what you like, but if you're trying to get into the genre or you don't care much about the IP, this might not be for you. All in all, the reviewers say Tales of the Shire isn't a horrible game, but it isn't anything revolutionary. As time goes on, these scores might slightly creep up, and the game could improve if Weta Workshop puts time into it. If you're looking at buying it right now, it might be best to wait for some technical issues to get patches and some new content to drop so that you have enough to sink your teeth into, but it's a competent, cozy simulator set in the Lord of the Rings universe, and for a lot of people, that concept alone is enough to pull them in. So that was our review roundup for Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game. Are you going to be checking it out? If so, let us know down in the comments, and for everything else, keep it right here at Game Rant.